Number one, the best free agent out there, and I know you need offensive help, but the best free agent out there is a defensive end. It's Chris Jones, maybe one of the 5 or 10 best players in all of football. Hey, Chris, the Kansas City didn't re-sign you. You're 28, 29 years old, still at the top of your game. I want to talk to him first. He'll probably reject me and go back to Kansas City, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really going for high-impact, high-salaried players. I would do a mix. And by the way, I wouldn't just go out and say, hey, I want all of the top guys. I'm going to spend all my money on top-end guys. But I will start there. I'll start there because I see some guys, if you have your top 100 free agents, I see some guys at 70 and 80 who are really good players and don't demand that bad deal. But is it a bad deal if you come away with another Chief, L'Jarius Sneed? Is that a bad deal?
Okay.
Chris Jones, is that a bad deal?
Well, maybe some of these other guys, Tyron Smith, who has, been one of the best left tackles in football in his career, but is now 33, can't really get through years without missing games. So at that kind of distressed number, would they overpay for Tyron Smith? Yes, quote unquote, overpay a little bit. L'Jarius Sneed, a little different. That's a top of the market kind of thing at corner. I'd be stunned if they came home with L'Jarius Sneed. Pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it's in the cards. The running back? Yes, because you're overpaying a low-paid position. In other words, Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald, I think it's going to be business as usual. They'll spend money, but they'll do it their way.
I think you will be flabbergasted, Michael Felger, when we look at the dollar amounts. Maybe not the big-time names when we look at the total dollars because, look, when it comes to the Patriots right now in cash spending, you've been all over this, they have to, by the rules, spend probably at least $700 million over the next 3 years because of the cash spending floor. So whether it's bringing players back or the 3 guys you just listed, I'm on board with Sneed, by the way. They need to spend in hard, cold cash 90% of the cap over the next 3 years. On average, that's looking like north of $700 million. That's going to be it for the Patriots to meet the minimum of this cash spending floor.
Right. So over the next 3 years, they'll get there. I just don't know if they're going to get there next week.
Who's your guy, though, Callahan? If you look at, these free agents out there, who's your number one target? Andrew Callahan, general manager. You and Robin Glazer, both co-general managers of the Patriots. Who are you going after?
All right, Robin Glazer, you can take a seat on this one. I got it from here. I'll take L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, he just turned 27. He's an elite athlete, 6'1", physical corner. You put him next to Christian Gonzalez, you might have a top 3, top 5 cornerback duo in the NFL. Set it and forget it. Everything else, all the attention, all the money goes to offense because that's what you need.
What's the contract? Sorry to cut you off.
It's going to be contract? No, it'll be probably $20 to $22 million per year, and it's going to look better every single year the way the cap goes up the next couple of years.
Okay, $20 to $22 million.
That's a steal.
First 3 years, it's going to be at least 50 guaranteed. Pick. You think they do that?
Yeah, I think they would because you mentioned the exceptions, Steph Gilmore, Darrelle Revis. These are positions that, again, essentially in the league, especially for man-to-man defense,
so by the way,
the Patriots want to be, you got to pay those guys.
They didn't pay Revis. They
gave him the 1-year deal, but at the time it was still near top of the market. It was just arranged in a way that he could say, I was the highest average annual value,
yeah, it was
but
like
the front end, it was backloaded.
Yeah, it wasn't like $13 million 1 year at the time. And this was like 10 years ago, but it was like 1 year, $13 million or something like that. Well, you said, and the pick, and just to be clear,
yeah,
what kind of pick for L'Jarius Sneed? It's not just money, and what kind of pick?
Yeah, so this is the tricky part, especially for a rebuilding team. People I talked to at the Combine expected it to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Now, if you're the Patriots, you're selling, hey, we have a 3rd, but because we suck, it's really going to be closer to the back end of the 2nd round. So why don't we give you a 3rd and a 5th or 6th, not this year, but next year, and we'll recoup that pick when we trade Mac Jones, and we really only trade a 3rd round for L'Jarius Sneed.
Okay, how do you feel about my thing about the running back? You know I'm usually anti-running back, but I just know how they think. And look, when you suck, you bring in running backs. That's what sucky teams do. They feature running backs, and that's what you are. Now, Saquon Barkley would be my first choice, but you got Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Pollard. I'm missing another guy. You got Eckler. Jacobs, right? Yeah. Josh Jacobs. You've got top, big names, Andrew. You got 5 of them out there. None of them were franchise, so no one wants to pay them the franchise number, which is like 12. Between that, you're going to get a big name at a low number. So I think like that to me is something that's very feasible for them.
I think so, too, but I'm in a little bit of a quagmire here because I'm with you. I've always said running backs on second contracts, it's bad business. There's too much tread on the tires. Saquon Barkley's going to be 26. You say that's not bad. He's at his athletic peak now What you're going to be paying for in the future is a lesser version of this guy who's been hurt for 3 of the last 4 years. So you might be wanting into the running back market, especially with Ramondre Stevenson coming into a contract year. I just want to put him in a position where, okay, it's only a 2-year deal. You'll be a 1A or 1B with Stevenson, and I'm going to utilize you a lot in the pass game because that's where the value is as a receiver as much as a rusher.
If Bill Belichick were still here, I could almost guarantee that Tyron Smith would be a Patriot now. Forget about tampering period. He'd be signed right now because Belichick loves Tyron Smith, always has. How about this regime? And do you think they should love a guy, left tackle, Felger said he's 33, played 13 games last year. He's had some injury concerns, but the guy's fantastic. Would you sign him?
I would not. I just think it's a rental where you want to talk about overpay. This is a guy who doesn't have a ring, could be going to the Hall of Fame. One Super Bowl puts him in Canton, set it and forget it. So you're paying him for 2 years just to protect a young quarterback, which is valuable, but for him it's going to be exorbitant. What I would do is pay out the nose for Mike Onwenu, who I think might make this front office look like a bunch of asshats if he goes and signs for palatable money elsewhere because it's a guy who's been here, you drafted, developed, and can play tackle, where right now they have nobody.